Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always, it is good to see you and I hope you're going to stick around. Okay, well, welcome back. We've been off. Those of you who follow the channel will know we normally look to put a video out on a Wednesday, midweek. Normally gameplay related things, unless I haven't managed to get to a game that week, and then we do more studio stuff. And then at the weekends, normally on a Saturday, we normally to upload a video, normally anything related to Airsoft really. Unboxings, replica reviews, tech, gear, everything in between, general discussions, everything in our great sport and hobby that is Airsoft. But unfortunately, I had some other commitments last week, so we didn't get any videos on Wednesday or Saturday last week, but we're back, and we're back to normal. So this is our Wednesday video. Obviously I didn't get to a game either because of that, so we've got another studio video. Now, as promised, I don't know if you saw the previous video I did with this Lancer Tactical M82 replica, the LT-20. I'd done an unboxing and review of this previously, and in the last video I put a Galaxy CO2 conversion bolt into it. So this is no longer spring powered, this is now CO2 powered. If you didn't catch that video, I'll put a link in the description as to where you can find that one, and that just shows you how to replace the bolt with the CO2 bolt that we've got in here. Quite hard to get hold of here in the UK. I've spent quite a bit of time trying to get hold of one. However, if you're over in the United States or in Europe, you might have a lot more success getting hold of one. I did notice a lot of suppliers over in your parts of the world do seem to carry them. So if you fancy one of these bolts, you should be able to get one, and they're quite affordable as well. Lancer brand the bolt, so if you're over in the United States, you can get a Lancer branded one. Here in the UK, I managed to get a Galaxy branded one, but as you'll know from my previous videos, this replica is basically manufactured by Galaxy and then rebranded with the looks of it as the Lancer LT-20. So, what we're going to do with it today? Well, as promised in that video, I thought we'll throw it over the Chrono. not throw the literal replica over the Chrono, it's quite big. That might be difficult. But we're going to throw a few rounds downrange over the Chrono and see what it's chronoing at now. Mine was quite weak with the spring. I was only getting around about 370, 380 feet per second on a 0.2 gram BB. This time we're going to put some 0.28s through it because that's all I've got at the moment. I have got some 0.4s, but I don't want to start putting sniper weight BBs through it until I've changed the hop chamber. And we are going to be doing that in a future video, so we'll get that hop chamber changed. So what I thought we'd do first is I'll show you how to load the CO2 canister. Now, disclaimer, I have not tried this yet, so it could go horribly wrong. I've got my I've got my Safety Eye Pro at the ready. I'm going to put that on before I start loading anything up here, and we're going to change the bolt out on this. Now, the awkward bit about having this bolt is I have to take this upper receiver off before I can get to the bolt, and you have to do that every time you load it with CO2. So I'll probably speed up that bit because I showed you how to do the upper receiver last time we did this video. I'll leave it in, but we'll accelerate it. So for this one, I know the bottle says 2 5s, but I've just reused the bottle, so they are 2 8s. That's the BBs we're going to be using. The magazines, as you may already know on this replica, is a 50 cal size magazine, but we're only going to load it up with a few rounds. It doesn't hold that many anyway. I'm going to be using an Umarex, should I say rather, it's 12 gram CO2 cartridge in this replica for this one. And as always, I've got my trusty silicone oil at the ready because I like to put a dab on the end of the 12 gram cartridge just to keep any O-rings and seals damp and moist in there instead of going dry. Don't know what condition it's going to be in, don't know that it works. It looks like it's been sat on a shelf for a while. So with all that out of the way, let's get to it, and I shall show you how we load this 12 gram. Okay, I'll be back with you shortly. Okay guys, so there we go, that is the bolt removed. That's our CO2 bolt. You can probably tell it's not difficult to get it out, it's just a little bit awkward having to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this base plate here. With the base plate unscrewed, that shows us where our piercing valve is, where we're going to be putting the 12 gram CO2 cartridge. So we'll take our 12 gram. One thing I can note as well, guys, is you need something to tighten this down, but I've noticed the rear pin for your Barret will fit through there fine. So you should be able to get enough leverage with that. If you forget a screwdriver or an Allen key or something, you should be able to use that to twist that on. But we'll get to that shortly. Now what I am going to do here, guys, is I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these threads because the squeaking is doing my head in. I don't know whether it'll help, but it may do. So we'll put a little bit of silicone oil on these threads. Right, I've just oiled that up a bit, guys, so that it's not quite so squeaky. Now, as you all know, guys, I like to put a dab of silicone oil when I'm using CO2 on the end of my CO2 12 gram. We're going to drop that in there, and then we're going to screw on our base plate, and that is where we're going to need this to enable us to get some purchase on it and screw it in, hopefully without it going loose. Not easy, guys. Let me come off camera here a second. Well, I'm not sure whether that's in or not, guys, but I'm definitely struggling to twist it in anymore. Not sure how far in you're supposed to go. Like I say, guys, the first time I've done this as well, so that's as tight as I can get it anyway. So let's hope that that is in correctly. That's definitely tight anyway. I did hear a slight hiss. So what we'll do is we'll put this back in. So obviously the bolt's out. We've screwed in our CO2 12 gram. Put it to one side. Now we're going to need to put the spring in. All the springs in. Which is like so. That sits in the back of there. Now then. Now I did learn that the best way to get this in is to pull the trigger. It is not the easiest thing to do, guys. As you can see, it's very, very fiddly. But we have managed. Okay, so that is us in. Then next we just put the upper receiver back on, guys, and we are good to go. So leave that with me while I just do that. Okay guys, so there you go. If you're wondering about the DPM jacket that's on the table here as well, that's just so that I don't damage the worktop here in the studio. Keep it nice and shiny. But as you saw, guys, not that hard. The two pins back in. It's a bit fiddly, not something you want to be doing, but if you're in the safe zone when you first arrive on your game day, then that should be you. Now, at this point, whether this is going to work, I don't know, but we shall point this in a safe direction and we shall find out. Well, I would say it's distinctly loud, guys. That sounds awesome. So it's much louder than it were, and it definitely works. So bear with me a second, guys. I am going to set up the Chrono. I am going to load this up with some BBs and we shall give it a shoot. Okay? Bear with me. Okay, guys. Well, here we are set up with the Chrono. We'll see how it gets on. There's a magazine there with our BBs in. We'll load that up. I've got my iPro on. Remember, guys, you always want to be wearing your iPro. I'm sorry about the lights, and there is a bit of extraneous noise as well. That primarily is coming from outside where I'm going to be doing my shots. Right, that's us loading. much easier to cock now, guys. It has to be said. Let's see how this shoots. That might be running a little bit hot, guys. 640 feet per second on a 0.28 gram BB. Well, now this could be because the gas has only just been put in. Leave it with me and we'll do more shots for it, see if we can get that to wear down a bit. Okay guys, well after a bit of messing about, it appears that we might have actually sorted it out. I had to put about 20 BBs through it to get the CO2 to settle down. But we're getting down on it now. We seem to get the odd flyer. So we're coming down. 452 guys. 419. 470. Yeah, so there we go guys, we've done a bit of chrono. It started off ridiculously high. It's hard to get a chrono because of the length of it. You really need two of you to take the chrono reading. But eventually after about 20 to 30 BBs are put through it and the CO2's calmed down a bit, we are getting around about 450 to 490. Doesn't seem very consistent. We'll see if we can do a bit of tweaking and maybe get that. And at the same time, the hop up on it is useless. I haven't got any hop set on it hardly. So with a bit of hop up, that's going to adjust our feet per second as well and our power output. So hopefully guys, we can get the consistency there and we'll get those chrono readings a bit better. But at least you get to see it through the chrono. Let's head back and we'll have a quick chat about our findings. Okay guys, well we're back after trying it out. Okay, bit hit and miss results there as you probably saw. Them first couple of shots, they could get you in trouble, them guys. That was way over what you'd normally be allowed on a field here in the UK, and getting on for levels of too much power, way too much power, shooting way too hot. Now that could be down to a number of things. Everything's new, everything's bedded in, I've not tried it before. Could be a case that the hop unit, we're not applying any hop whatsoever, so there's no resistance to the BB travelling down the barrel. Also, as you probably noted there guys, after about 10-20 shots we managed to get it to drop down to around about 450 feet per second on a 0.28 gram BB, which is not bad. Which is getting around about where we want to be, and that's with no hop applied again guys. The 600 we got at the beginning, I saw it twice, and then normally we were sitting around about the 520 feet per second, which is way too hot again on a 0.28 gram BB guys. That is way too hot. What we'll do is, I think, is we'll revisit the chrono readings after I've installed the Airsoft Pro hop unit, and we've applied a little bit of hop up, a bit of backspin to the BBs as they go down, and then hopefully we'll get some more realistic real world FPS outputs. But in the meantime, this replica is now shooting too hot. I wouldn't be able to use this on the field as is. So that's something to take away. Another thing that you might note is the length of time that your CO2 12 grams going to last. Now, I did 10 to 20 shots there to get it down to a level where I could actually use the replica around about 450, 430 feet per second. I did 10 to 20 shots with that. I only got about another 30 shots off after that before the CO2 started to completely run out. So from a practicality point of view, as with this whole replica, not really practical guys, but let's be honest here, it's a replica of an M82 50 cal. So it's not the most practical replica to use on the field anyway. So that's not why I'm going for it, but I'm sure you could agree guys, the noise it makes, awesome. It makes a nice crack. Now the only problem with mine is, it was making that funny vibrating noise that you guys probably heard. I've realised what that problem is. Mine has a nice metal proper Barret muzzle brake on it, which is slightly loose. So every time I fired, that vibrated. And that was the funny noise that you were hearing there, guys. So there you go. That's a quick test fire. First time I've ever fired it, guys. I haven't fired it since I put the CO2 bolt in. Never used the CO2 bolt. So that's my first attempt on it as well. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, having a go with me. We've had an experience of it together. The upshot is, at this point, I don't think it's particularly fair test with the hop that's in, because the hop that's in, I haven't applied any hop up to it. 600 feet per second is a bit ridiculous. Unless, of course, in your particular country, that's a limit that you're allowed on your airsoft field, in which case, happy days, it's going to get you some high power. But here in the UK, we're looking for around about 500 feet per second on a 0.2 gram BB. So, yeah, it's shooting a little bit hot for me. However, there are ways and means we can tweak that performance and get it shooting how we want it to shoot. And needless to say, guys, I'll run it through the Chrono again, probably on a game day. So the next time you'll probably see this Barret in action for me here at Rock Bottom Airsoft is when I take it out on the field and have a do on my local field. And hopefully it'll perform well. And also, I'll maybe do a video on how to install the Airsoft Pro hop chamber. If you guys want to see the Airsoft Pro hop chamber being installed on this, let me know in the comments. I will always respond to a comment. Might not get back to you straight away, but I will always respond. So do let me know in the comments if you want to see a bit more work done to this LT-20. And as I say, definitely you will see it in the field, and I will have a game with it and see how we get on. But apart from that, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.